Welcome to part 2 of our Marty Jannetty interview from 2004. This is our second half of the one-part interview that was just so long, but also so good that we couldn't find a way to just leave it as one episode. We split it in half, and this is part 2. Do not forget to like and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment if you want to. We'd really like to hear from you. And without any further ado, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Interactive Interview on the interactiveinterview.com, as always, courtesy of ProWrestling.com, and we're here with part 2 of the Marty Jannetty interview. Marty, how you doing?
Good, brothers. Just rock and roll, strutting, strolling still. You know, how we do it on the eastern coast. Where you guys are, but eastern coast.
I'm originally a New Jersey boy, so I'm East Coast my own time. First question we got for you. Yeah, that's a very wrestling area, too. First question we got for you is any memories of working with since the first half of the interview, now deceased Hercules Hernandez and Paul Roma?
Yeah, there was, we worked with Power and Glory, what they call.
Yep.
And we had some good matches. In fact, I think we went over to SummerSlam, and Sean had hurt his knee. I think he just bought a motorcycle and was riding in on a rainy day and come across the railroad tracks and was about to slide across, so put his leg down, tore his knee out there for a little bit. And I ended up having to go against him. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do.
Yeah, he was, I think he showed it. He was out there, but he had his knee taped up or whatever it was. And I ended up having to work with the two of them. They were good, man. Herc was the strong man of that group, and Paul was athletic, man. He just, the only problem with Paul is he runs his mouth quite a bit, and if it wouldn't have been for that, and it was the spunky Italian part of it, he was just a loudmouth, and I have no problem with that, but he really got a lot of heat, just being himself, but being loud about it, and I think really with Power and Glory, if Paul wouldn't have been so loud, coming like obnoxiously loud with his opinions, they might have done a lot more with him. But they were a pleasure to work with. Both were very good.
Gwen would like to know the story behind the night you guys won the tag team titles from the Hart Foundation and the Comedy of Errors that happened in that match.
The Comedy of Errors?
Yeah, remember the top rope broke.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, I was standing on the outside when it broke and was like catching my breath, resting on the rope there, and it broke, which really upset me. And because I actually had to hold myself up. But that was for Saturday night. What was it? Saturday night main event? There was a tape thing. They were going to show either that Saturday or the coming Saturday after that. And the match was good, man. Everything went well. We actually, ad-libbed well when the rope broke. Kind of covered it up. I thought went along with it, and you know what? It just kind of, it was like a reality type thing. The rope broke, so we did what we did. I think I may have told you guys. I don't know. Did we cover what really happened? What I think the reason, behind the belt switch actually. Or didn't pull the belts back. Did I tell you guys that?
We didn't get that far, no.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Don't make me retell the same story. I can do it. I'm afraid. Well, as it goes, we did win the belts that night. The 2 out of 3, we won 2 of the balls, and took the belts home. And actually, that was the first. I think with Sean, that was the only time we had the belts. With me and the 1, 2, 3 kid. Or 6, or X-Pac, or whatever, we had won the belts once, and from the Quebecers. Sean and I's only little run with it was right out of that. I think it was in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Like I said, tape for Saturday Night Main Event. We won the belts, and went home, or we were on the road at the time, of course. We went to the next town as champions. Went into Fort Wayne, challengers, left there the next day, champions, had the belts. Went in to Corpus Christi was where we had to go the next day. And it was a connection flight. We flew into Dallas, got a connection to go to Corpus Christi. On that flight, are you sure? I didn't tell you guys this?
I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure? You're positive?
We're sure.
James?
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Okay. So we're on the flight from Dallas to taking off, and there's this one drunk-ass guy comes on the plane, last to come on, drunk as hell, raising hell, talking, and the plane was already half full. Mostly it was the wrestlers, and maybe maybe 10 other folks outside of wrestling, outside WWF. And this old guy comes in. I say old guy, this older fella comes in and raising hell and obviously drunk as shit. And, excuse my language, sorry. Drunk, and he's so drunk he's looking at his boarding pass, and he's like, well, where the hell am I supposed to sit? This stewardess come up and come and sit him, ended up having him sit right in front of Hercules, which we were speaking of, and Paul Roma was right next to him too. I mean, Power and Glory we were just talking about. Well, he had to sit right next to those guys.
Uh-huh.
And for whatever reasons, unknown, he started raising hell about it. He's like, I don't want to sit back here with these bunch of excuse my language, I'm just going to say it like he did. I don't want to sit back here with all these goddamn wrestlers, these sorry-ass son of a bitch of hell. I don't want to sit. The plane was, like I said, about half empty or half full, according to which side you look at.
Uh-huh.
And, for the most part, once you see the plane's not full, you can move around, sit wherever you want. And but this guy, he didn't really think of that. He thought he had to sit actually in his seat and raise hell, but having to sit there amongst all these goddamn wrestlers. So I mean, he was raising some kind of hell, and as usual, Sean and I got the eye. We looked at each other and said, let's fix this. Let's work on this problem here. Are you guys sure I didn't tell you this?
What happened?
None of this sounds familiar yet?
1,000,000%.
So, we take off, flight goes off, he's still sitting there raising hell, talking shit about everybody, and how the wrestlers suck, and, he don't want to be sitting back there. And, Sean and I went back to the bathroom area of the plane, and I'm not going to, because this is going to get a little graphic. I'm just going to put it this way. Somebody had to go to the bathroom. Somebody had to take a dump.
Uh-huh.
And they did it on a paper towel. And somebody else, well, I'll go ahead and say, I just happened to walk across and see the dump laying on the paper towel. And figured, okay, I'll pick this up and try to get rid of it, dispose of it. And so I picked it up and we're walking towards the front of the plane. And Sean had the idea of, wait a minute, come here. He wanted it. He took it. He had the idea of dumping it on this guy who was raising all the hell. And so the picture of the guy, how a plane is to set up in a plane. So I go and sit in front of the guy who's sitting there, and I'm telling him, I'm acting like I'm his buddy. I'm like, you know what, man? Yeah, these wrestlers. Me being one of the smaller guys.
Right.
He didn't even think I was one of the wrestlers, which that made me feel good. He didn't figure I was one of the wrestlers. He was just like another one of the passengers on the plane. I said, you know what, these wrestlers, they are a bunch of assholes. I don't like them. So he's like, yeah, man, you're all right, man. So he's raising, slapping, and giving me five and stuff, and leans forward, to talk to me, and somehow the dump, the turd, the crap, the shit, got dropped down in the back of his seat, right behind him, while he was leaning forward, slapping me five. So, I saw that, and I thought, what the heck, let me take a look behind this guy, see what really just happened. So I'm like, got in the seat behind him, and like, hey, dude, these guys, they are crap. So he's turning around now, and he's slapping me five, and he's just grinding the crap in his shirt, in the back of his, it's right down the back. I guess, at this point, all we know is somehow some mess just got dumped down the back of this guy's back on his seat. And then so even Paul Roma chimed in with, oh, yeah, you know what, guy, I'm sorry, brother, give me a five. So we got this guy turning left and right, just grinding that crap in the back of his shirt. in his back. And finally, as it goes, he finally gets up and decides he wants to stroll around the plane. Well, he stands up, takes a step forward, and there is a large, big piece of turd just grounded in to the middle of the back of his shirt. And the funniest part was a big hair, some long hair, circly hair was hanging out of it. And it was a hell of a sight. And he goes walking up, he's drunk as hell, goes staggered up the front of the plane. And each row of people he passes, they look up at him and they see this turd on his back with hair dangling out of it, and they start laughing. And he turns around looking at people like, well, why are these people laughing at me, kind of thing. And he keeps going up to the front of the plane, and each row of people he passes, they start laughing as he goes. and so he's not figuring it out. He's like, what the hell? He keeps looking back at all of them because he knows every time he passes people, they laugh. So as he goes, he went ahead and he turned around, went to the bathroom. Evidently, he found the turd on his back in the bathroom. He comes out of the bathroom, comes back to his seat. Now he's got his shirt off. He's rolled up in a ball. Comes out, and he's tattooed, man, from neck to, just like got a shirt of tattoos on. And they're little prison tattoos, there's no color, kind of green-looking stuff. And he comes back to his seat, they got the shirt rolled, throws it in the seat, starts screaming, "Nobody shits on me!" And about that time, the plane busts out laughing. And Paul Roma says, "Well, it looks like the WWF did, buddy." And with that, he had a fit. He started going crazy. "Fuck y'all!" Y'all have to excuse my language. "Fuck y'all! Y'all a bunch of motherfuckers! Fuck y'all! Y'all know what?" And the whole plane's laughing at him. And he's saying, "I got me a 9mm underneath the plane, boys. When we land over here in Corpus Christi, I'm getting my gun out. I got 9 bullets. I'm going to kill me 9 wrestlers." With that, me and Sean are looking at each other like, oh, shit. What the hell? Maybe we went a little too far here. And, the stewardess and the rest of the people on the plane, he was loud. He wasn't just whispering this to a couple rows around him. He was loud. So everybody on the plane is panicking, and he keeps repeating it, 9 bullets gonna kill me 9 wrestlers. Now I think about it, I hope that guy ain't listening to this, and he's gonna figure out who to come shoot now. It was 10 years ago. But yeah, he's God will kill me 9 wrestlers. And now we're all getting a little nervous, and because this guy, he looked the part. Then he started talking about, if y'all in my city now, as it turned out, I guess he was the leader of some biker gang down there, Corpus Christi. But nevertheless, as we didn't know that, all we know is he kept talking about 9 bullets, 9 wrestlers gonna die. And we landed in Corpus Christi, and we're getting off the plane, and the cops are there. And I guess it's a federal offense to be making threats like that on the plane. And the cops stopped him, and they grabbed Paul Roma, of all folks, and asked him, so you guys want to press charges? And Paul's like, what do you mean press charges? And he's like, well, it's a federal offense, he's threatening, on the plane, whatever. Paul's like, you know what, if he's got a gun or whatever, he really has a gun loaded, yeah, sure, but otherwise he's just drunk talking shit. So they go downstairs to the baggage claim, pull the guy's shit out, and he had a damn gun. And so they arrested him. They arrested the guy, took him in, because he didn't claim the gun or whatever. I guess you're supposed to claim it or what, let him know. He ended up getting arrested, and as it turned out, he was like one of the top 10 or something that wanted in the U.S. He had escaped from prison or something other. And so now, and he was, like I said, the leader of some biker gang or whatever down there in Corpus Christi, which he kept telling us, he was, "You're in my city now, boys." WWF nothing. I'll show you guys. We're all a little nervous, but we go to, we get out of the airport, we go, the rooms, get everything ready to go wrestle that night, and George Animal Steel was the agent, and he pulled us all in the room, says, "Fellas, I don't know who did what, and I just want to tell you." And I'm not trying to make fun of George. I love George. He's a good friend of mine. That's how he talks. But somebody did something on the plane today, and looks like this guy's some serious stuff. So there may be some snipers in the crowd tonight. So just and when you hear a pop go off, gotta hit the floor. And this was for real, man.
Hello?
I'm saying it jokingly, but that night we were all scared to damn death. We were thinking, oh shit. And as it turned out, nothing happened that night. You know, we went through the thing. But of course, that got back to the office, and it was the next day. I personally got the call from Vince McMahon, who's, Marty, I think we're gonna wait a little bit. We've decided to make some changes, and we're not gonna give you all the belt. So, as the story has been told, it was because the ropes broke, and maybe that really is it. But you make your own judge call. It really might have been. That's what I think it might have had something else to do with, rather than just the ropes.
What have you had heard from?
The Rockers had a reputation of always doing goofy stuff, and that was not something that was. That was a little much, I guess.
The story that Bret Hart. Yeah, the story Bret Hart tells about that. He thinks Jim Neidhart broke the thing because they were going to turn Bret single at that point, and he thinks Jim Neidhart was, they had no plans for him, so he thinks Neidhart, purposely untangled the rope somehow.
You think he might have went there and like rigged the ropes before the match?
That's what Bret Hart says. He thinks he had something to do with it.
I never thought of that. That's far-fetched, but if Bret said it, I'm not. That is the execution, so I'm not going to argue with that.
Can I just say I'm really enjoying these?
I would doubt that's what happened. I don't know. I don't know how you'll fix to rig the ropes to break. Of all things, I mean, if he didn't want to do it, he just figured he'd just knock one of us out. But I guess rigging the ropes is another way.
Can I just say I'm really enjoying these impressions. So keep them coming. They're really good. Next question coming in from the forums was that apparently in a recent interview from our forum.
The what? I'm sorry.
The forums, the chat forums,
SWforums.com.
Yeah. In a recent interview, Shawn Michaels gloated, saying that the two of you were main eventing at live events while Hulk Hogan was the opening match. The question from the forum.
Wait a minute, what? Hogan was opening the show and we were main eventing?
Mm-hmm.
Did I hear you right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people over here at the house and throwing a party without me. I might have heard you wrong right now because it's noisy over here. I'm over here at the Ghetto Mansion, and at the Ghetto Mansion parties get crazy, and I don't know if y'all can hear the background. There's a lot going on over here. So what I heard was Hogan was opening match, and Shawn and I were main event, which I don't remember that, but I didn't say it didn't happen.
But the question that was actually posed was, do you feel that the Rocker team was ever held back for any reason?
Yeah, I think we were held back for a simple reason that there was just too many girls involved. There were just girls night after night after night, and we were just middle of the card. And someone said if we were like main eventers, we would have moved on up there with the Pamela Andersons, which rumor has it Shawn went ahead and went there anyway. But the Pamela Andersons and the Janet Jacksons and the Jenna Jamesons, who wasn't there yet, but they were held back because we were being like scouted for porno movies and stuff, and they didn't want us to go that route. So we might have gotten held back a little bit.
In the same interview that apparently Shawn mentioned that comment about when you was at the main event and Hulk Hogan was opening. Shawn
I think he was actually a dark match. I don't even think he was a scheduled match. I think it was sort of like a tryout.
Well, it still makes sense, and it still looks good, doesn't it? But, apparently Shawn also said in that same interview that he claimed that you had spoken with WCW about jumping sites, but later admitted that you hadn't. He said this was part of the reason why you guys split up, but everybody's asking the question, why did you and Shawn really split?
I saw I saw like that shoot interview he did for RF.
Yeah.
Or what is it? RF. Yeah, I saw that, and where he was talking. Yeah, you know what? I was so surprised when I saw that whole video because Shawn, for the most part, he told things as they were. So I was really falling for the religion kick that he's falling into, or whatever. Because he was actually being honest about some things. But then again, as we got into it, there was a few things that he failed to tell, and then he stretched what really happened and twisted it and turned it to where it wasn't quite really the way it happened. And I guess that's okay. As a Christian, you can, you just see things as the way you see them. That's the way he saw them. And I'm not saying I'm not anti-religious. Don't bomb me here with that. Just saying that just some of the things he said on that weren't quite accurate. And that being one of them, one of them, he got into saying that I was talking with the WCW, which I actually had, and we had a problem. To sum it up real quick, without going into deep detail, which I have a real bad problem with that, going rattling off a 45-minute answer. We were having problems. I don't say we were having problems. We were kind of concerned with our pay rate as compared to everyone else, and compared to how we were accepted by crowd response or whatever. Being popular or not, we were fairly popular, and we felt we worked pretty hard, and our pay rate was behind a lot of people. But that was an issue that we had addressed, and we went to shoot a commercial down in Atlanta for a cereal they were doing, Superstar cereal. I never did get to eat any of that, but anyway, we shot the commercial, and we had to sign this paperwork for a Screen Actor Guild thing. You had to be a member to say words or whatever on commercials. And we saw what everybody was getting, and we were behind everybody else. If you guys remember, this is basically what John said. Well, everything was pretty much true up to the point where he said that I went and said, we want to quit. Told Vince, and that was without him knowing anything about it, or he had no knowledge of that. The truth of the matter was, we seen the paperwork, and Sean had a fit. God damn it! And he had not been on the road at the time. That's around at that time where he hurt his knee, and he was out. And Shane Douglas was actually filling in for him, and so it was the Rockers Shane Douglas version chapter. And like I said, they flew Sean up from Tampa for that commercial, and he threw a fish to bitch, which I'm with him on that, because we just had a meeting with Vince about our pay, in which Vince said, okay, everything you guys will, your pay scale will up. And we were getting less than anybody else, and shooting that commercial. And he had a fit, and was like, that's it, fuck it, let's quit. Which I will admit, I am. And at that time, I was a goofball or rebel or whatever. I would do it. I said, don't say that you mean it, Sean. I'll do it. I'll go call Vince, tell him. Yeah, fuck, let's do it. So I did. I remember going and getting the phone right there at the place we did the commercial, or shot the thing, and calling the office, WWF, and I think I got Pat Patterson, who I love Pat to death. Pat was like, "Hey, Marty, what's going on?" And I was like, needed to speak with Vince. And he said, "Oh, Marty, Vince is busy. Can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, Sean, I want to quit." He goes, "Oh shit, hold on, Marty, I'll get him." And Vince came on and told us, "Hey, we want to know exactly what is it we need to do to give our notice. I know it's got to be a 30-day written notice or whatever. What all do we need to do?" And I'm sorry, here I go in that long ass detail again. Sorry. To sum it all up, it amounted to Vince, and he was like, "Well, why don't you guys come in and talk about it?" In that Vince voice, and I was like, "No, we just want to finish up." Because my thinking and Sean's was, we just got through talking to you, and you just told us, we did the right thing, our pay scale was enough, and the first opportunity to make that happen, you gave us, they showed us otherwise. So what was there to talk about? So I just said, no, we're done, we want to finish. And he was like, well, I hate to hear that. I wish there was some other way, but I'll let you guys finish up the Survivor Series. And that was 3 weeks away, and at that time it was like a 90-day. When you had 90, when we give you notice, you had 90 days before it was done, before you were through, and that gave them 90 days to beat you down, before you could go anywhere else. Which I guess that's good business. They kill you off before you go to the next company. Well, Vince was letting us go in 3 weeks. I thought that was a blessing. In fact, I thanked him when he said, I'll let you guys finish up the Survivor Series. I was stunned. I was like, are you serious? He goes, well, sure. And I'm like, well, thank you. To me, that's a blessing. Because, that was the only thing we had. We're not going to win the Survivor Series, big damn deal. So it hung up, and Sean's like, what'd he say? What'd he say? I'm like, well, he's going to let us quit the Survivor Series. And Sean's mouth dropped, and he goes, he's going to let us quit? I'm like, well, no, it's not a matter of letting. We were quitting. He got no choice, but he's letting us do it at Survivor Series. He's going to fucking let us quit? And I knew right there, I thought, oh, what the hell? I said, Sean, do you understand what that means? That means we don't get beat on TV for the next 3 months. He's going to let us quit? So with that, we ended up finishing out that day with a commercial or whatever, went home, and I get to Orlando, where I was living at the time, Sean was in Tampa at the time. I get home and check my answer machine. We'd been on the road. I'd been on the road. I'm sorry. They just flew Sean in for that particular thing and then back out. I'd been on the road like 10, 15 days, so I got home checking on the messages I got. And the last one I got was the message, Marty, you'll be called here at the office. And I give him a call, and he hits me with the, you don't have to quit, you're welcome to stay on, wrestle singles type thing. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not going behind Sean's back on this. No, there's no going to be none of that. And, Sean and I made this decision together, and we're sticking with it. And he's like, well, that's kind of strange. Sean just told me that this was all your idea. You had nothing to do with it. And with that, I couldn't even... I don't even know if I said goodbye or, what I said to them. I just remember hanging up and calling Sean in Tampa. And he answered the phone, and I remember the first thing I was like, tell me it ain't true. Tell me it ain't true. He goes, what? I said, tell me it ain't true. You went and called Vince and told him that was all my shit? You had nothing to do with it? He was like, Marty, he goes, man, I thought about it on the flight home. He goes, man, you're single, I'm married. He goes, your house is paid off, I'm making payments. He goes, I can't afford to quit right now. And that's fine, but I mean, he made me out to be the asshole of that. Well, see, that's the part that Mr. Christian never forgets to tell how it really happened. That's how that really happened. And as far as the WCW and calling other folks, yeah, actually, I did call, made a few calls. And well, actually, I made one call in particular asking, if we could come in there. And the word was they didn't like Shawn Michaels. They weren't interested in having him. He had a lot of heat with either Dusty Rhodes or Flair, one of them. But for the most part, they said, we're just not interested in having you guys. Sean's got too much heat with some of the guys here. That I didn't, I'll be honest, I didn't go back and tell Sean, hey, they don't like you. I just went back and said, no, there's nothing happening there. And, of course, on his video, he says that I said, well, I didn't really call nobody. No, that's not the truth. And I never told him I never called anybody. I simply told them they weren't interested. I didn't actually come out and tell them that, they didn't like it. They didn't want him, too much heat with him. So that's the real story on that. How was that for a 90-minute answer?
Excellent.
Is anybody still awake? Hello?
We're still here.
Good morning, mister. Hey, how you guys doing? I'm all alone. I'm sorry, guys. I will keep it down to 4 billion words.
No, that's fine. I can tell you from the feedback from the first interview, the longer winded answers were the ones that got the best feedback. So it is fine. You talk. It is fine. We'll be here. It's fine. Go for it.
But, next question I got for you comes from Amanda from the forums, who yells at us all the time for not asking enough of her questions.
Amanda who?
Amanda from the forums. No, Amanda.
I know her.
Yeah, Amanda. Yeah, maybe.
Big boobs.
She's 25, so she could.
That's different. Well, there could be several Amanda. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Amanda Hug and Kiss, maybe.
Sorry, Amanda. There's Amanda I know that was fit that description. Go ahead.
Well, everybody needs Amanda Hug and Kiss.
You know that.
Her question was something I asked you.
You know what? You changed, man.
You haven't changed. You just been more blatant.
Changed, bro. It's okay, though, bro. It's all right.
I'm straight. I'm straight. Calm down. All right. She asked the question that I asked you via email, and she wants to know, how did they gimmick the window in the barbershop incident?
James, I told you about that, right?
Yes, you did, via email, yes.
So we haven't said it on the interview yet?
Yes, we have not said this on the interview.
I know I mentioned it, and I know I told you, James, or emailed it, whatever. What the situation was where basically it was, the sugar glass window. And I know James was disappointed because he said, who'd you say did that?
Dawkins.
Huh?
Dawkins.
Yeah. It was funny. You told me, so don't tell me it was sugar glass and whatever. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to be. But what happened was it was supposed to be in a sugar glass window. They had 3 windows, and 2 of them sugar glass. And, in case we did one take, it didn't work out, they would redo it. They one real window was it. Went ahead and did the thing, as you know, and afterwards, I got a few cuts from that, a few on my head and a few on my stomach when I was laying across it. Well, afterwards, we went in the back, and the guys were like, "Oh God, we're so happy you're okay." And these are production guys, yeah, well, why wouldn't I be? Y'all know this is set up, right? Well, yeah, but there was 2 sugar glass windows and 1 real one, and they weren't marked. So we took a guess on the real one, and the sugar glass ones, and we accidentally put the real one in, and you didn't get hurt too bad. So that's what happened on that. If that's what you were asking.
That is what I was asking.
Yeah, it was. They had 2 windows, sugar glass, 1 real one, but they didn't mark them. And the damn production guys, they're cool. I like the guys that were involved in that. They were just afraid if they didn't go ahead and do it, they're afraid for their jobs. So they said, "Fuck it." Oh, excuse my language. They said, "The hell with it. We'll sacrifice MJ before we'll take our jobs. We'll take a chance to lose our jobs." And threw the window in there. I understand. And it worked out because there was no real bad injuries, and that actually looked pretty good, I guess. I still hear about it today. From kids that are 7 years old, and they happened 15, about 12 years ago. I'm getting old. I think.
Listener Diesel would like to know.
Experience isn't helping me a bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead. They say with age comes wisdom. I'm finding out sometimes with age comes alone. That's what I'm finding out.
I was going to throw in a really bad cliche there, but I can't remember it. But that's probably a good thing, though. It's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
It's probably an English thing as well, so you probably wouldn't know what it means, but don't worry. Anyway, Listener Beezer would like to know why were you off TV for such a long time before coming back to feud with Sean?
After the barbershop?
Yes.
Oh, man, I got to be honest. Do I have to tell the truth?
Yeah.
Please, don't make me tell the truth. I'm going to do it if I have to.
You have to?
I tell you what, I'm gonna. Well, I better not say that. Okay, I'll be honest. Do I have to?
You have to.
Right after we did the barbershop window, right? In a way, it almost worked good because I was out for 6 months after that happened, and so the appearance was, or it should have. I would have thought it would have been. Went through the barbershop window, and then I'm out for 6 months. But in reality, I was only supposed to be out like 3 or 4 weeks. But I was macho man was like, "What? Let me tell you what really happened." I had a problem down there in Tampa, and let me see how I can shorten this down to just 2 days, without leaving out vital details. Basically, I was in the club down there in Tampa with a girl 20 years old. She was a stripper from the dollhouse right next door to the club I was working at. Well, they knew that, but they knew who I was. In fact, Frankie Lancaster, who wrestles as Thumper, was in the independent world. If any of y'all know him.
I do.
He was the bouncer or the doorman that night. And he's like, "Yeah, Marty, come on in, but we know, she's 20 years old. Don't let her drink. Don't let her nothing happen." Well, we got in the club, and of course, I had a drink or 2, nice cold beverages of my choice, And she ended up getting in an argument with this girl who was trying to flirt with me, which was, back then that wasn't so rare. Now it's impossible to see that happen. But she got in an argument. The girl's name, I won't say her last name. I guess I say Angela. Angela. Can I say Angela?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're okay.
So anyway, Angela was the girl's name, and you know what? If she gets to hear this and her family and friends, they're all gonna laugh their ass off. Sorry about that. Anyway, so she got into an argument with a girl, Colleen. Can I say that?
Yeah,
You just did.
Yeah. And Colleen and Angela were mouthing off, and Angela was, just being an ass, and so they knew she was underage and she was causing a ruckus, so police come in and grab her and started taking her out. And this is a crowded nightclub at, what the hell was it called? Yucatan Liquor Stand in Tampa, Florida. Did I say that?
I don't know about that one. Yeah, we'll let it.
I'll take it back then. I didn't say that, but yeah, it was popping. It was happening that night too. It was crowded as hell, and so they took us out. And on the way out, Angela's like grabbing me. She's 20 years old. You know, pretty little girl, man, 5 foot. You know, big old boobies and small waist. You know, she had like a little dress. This was years ago. I hate to say this, but this was back when that neon color stuff was in. You know, the bright ass neon looking greens and yellows and whatever the heck else it was, and that terry cloth dress stuff. You know, she's wearing one of those short skirts and just like a top, what do you call it, strapless top. Big old boobs sticking out there. Just nice, petite looking little girl, and so, you know, I'm going out with her. She's panicking. She's looking at me, these little puppy dog eyes, like, don't leave me, come on, go with me. And she's snatching on me, grabbing me, and I wasn't going to leave her. Hell, I still hadn't been with her yet. That sounded bad. Hold on. that sounded bad. I didn't mean it like that. But, so we were going out. We got out in the front of the place, and the officer, I call him officer now, but the sorry-ass bastard at the time, asked her for ID, which, you know, she's underage. She didn't have one to show him. And so she was faking and acting like she was reaching in her purse to get an ID that she didn't have. But at the same time, she was turning her back to the officer, the sorry-ass bastard. And he was, he kept trying to look around to see why she was turning her back. And she kept turning, and he kept looking around. Finally, she kicked him in the shin. And with that, he picked her up, and, you know, you guys know what a back-to-belly suplex, or belly-to-back, which is it? Belly-to-back suplex, you know, where your belly is to their back, you're behind them, arms around the waist, lift, twist, turn, slam. Or as the Irish people say, big butty slam. But you guys know what a belly-to-back, you know what that is, right?
Yeah, man.
Leave the cheek alone, man. Cheek's cool. Ever tell you guys about the story when he got busted for, you know, when Vince got him for the, when he tested positive on the coke? Ever tell y'all that story?
No. Who are we talking about?
No, remind me to tell y'all that one, because it's one of the funniest stories out there. Most of the guys in the industry know it, but I have to retell it. To finish this one, damn. To finish this one, so they what the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, so he bellied back her to the ground. Now you got to picture this little petite 5 foot, you know, little petite girl, pretty girl, big titties, just soft looking pretty girl. He slams her down on the road in front of the Yucatan place and grabs her by the back of her head. I'm standing there, right there watching this. And he grabs her by the head of her head, and then bounces her head, like grabs her and pulls her head off the road and bounces it on the road. Basically, he lost his temper. He flipped out. And he grabbed her head, bounced it off the road, and he pulled her head up to do it again. And I reached up and grabbed and underhooked his arm. And I reacted like probably anybody would. I mean, it was, you know, it caught me off. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And plus, it was my date.
Right.
And so I grabbed him and snatched him up. Just pulled him up basically to his feet. And as soon as I did, I realized, oh shit, you know, I just grabbed the cop. And I put my hands in the air, and from there it was a mess because he wanted to beat the shit out of me, but somehow or another he wasn't able to, and so that pissed him off more. And it ended up, as it all ended up, got arrested, went to do a pat down sort of thing, and the officer was telling me, he goes, you know, you're such an asshole. I know who you are. My kids got posters of you in their bedroom, you know, and I can't believe you're out here. I ain't gonna tell my kids, you know, how you are. You're acting out here. And I was like, sir, you're just throwing the girl around on the ground over there, and it happens to be my date. And he was like, oh, officer protection. I don't know what she had in the purse. Then I had a weapon in there. And I'm thinking, well, that's why you had to bounce her head off the road? Oh, don't you be a wise ass. See, that's what I'm talking about. I can't believe you're acting this way. I may let you go. I don't know yet. And so he does a little pat down thing, and as he's patting down, reaches inside the shirt pocket, coat pocket, pulls out a little packet of Coke, like a little thing that you would have, I don't know, a couple grams of Coke in, whatever. I'm going to act like I don't know shit about that. But back in my day, I did party, but this particular night, he pulls it out, and he holds up, he goes, oh, so this is what it's all about. Okay. And my first reaction I was looking at it, I was like, oh shit, because I didn't know I had it. I thought it was something maybe I left in there from another time.
Mm-hmm.
And first reaction was, damn, I didn't do that last time. Second reaction was like, oh no, oh my god. And I'm panting. I'm like, oh shit, there's a whole bunch of people out in front of the club staring at me, watching this whole scene. There he is holding up a little coat packet and looking at me, and I'm standing there, my thumb last going, I don't know what it is. And the girl, Angela, spoke right up. She goes, it's not his, it's mine. So I stuck it in there when y'all were bringing about which she did. She was actually, as it turns out, she was in the place, I guess, so I don't know, when she was in there trying to sell Coke, a little package of Coke or whatever, and I had no idea. And she was trying to stuff it on me as they were bringing her out so she wouldn't get caught with it. So she told that, she admitted that, and that was in the police report and in court, so I didn't end up getting charged with that. But I ended up getting charged with, what do they call it, obstruction of justice with violence from where I snatched the cop up off of her. And I guess that was a felony charge. And as we went to court and did all the stuff you do, plea bargains, all that crap, it ended up I got 6 months house arrest. So the answer to that question you asked yesterday was house arrest for 6 months. That was why I was gone for so long.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Next question, I promise to keep it under 20 minutes.
No, well, one second. You mentioned the story just a second ago that you wanted to tell about... you just said a story a second ago, and I didn't quite catch what it was about, but you said you wanted to tell that one.
The Iron Sheik.
Was it Sheik? Okay.
The one where the Sheik tested positive?
Yes.
Oh, for everybody that don't know that one, your drug testing back in the day, and in fact, I think if y'all remember way back at one time, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Iron Sheik were doing a little program where they were wrestling against each other, and it was pretty hot. It was a hot angle at the time, in USA versus Iraq, or whatever the heck it was, and they got pulled over on the Jersey Pikeway up there, or Expressway, whatever it was, Parkway, not Pikeway, what the hell. And they were, riding together. There they were with a big angle against each other, riding together. And when they did the search, they found some coke, and that made the USA Today, the headline news, and everything else. So with that, then started, he started drug testing. I mean, I don't know if that was the only reason it started, but that had a lot to do with it. And so, I guess a little while later, everybody, usually on TV days, where everybody's there for TV taping, when they're going to drug test you, you get a line up outside the hallway, about 100 people, and they give you a little cup, and you go in there and you pee in it, and you give it back to them, and they tell you in a couple of days, they go, you're okay. Well, we did that. I guess Sheik got called into Vince's office a few days after that, or whatever, and Vince was, Sheik tested, got your test results back from the steroids and cocaine or whatever. I think they were just testing for steroids and cocaine at the time. And Sheik, Sheik is like, oh, okay. And Vince is like, Sheik tested positive for cocaine. And Sheik looks at Vince and goes, oh, excellent. And Vince is like, no, that's not good. Positive means that you have cocaine in your system. And Sheik is like, oh, wait a minute. Oh. And I guess, that stutters and stumbles, and he's like, well, Vince, let me ask you, what about Jacob the Snake? Did Jacob the Snake, did he test positive? And Vince was like, no. What about Don Morocco? Did Don Morocco, did he test positive? He's like, no. He goes, well, and Sheik used to call JYD, he's called JBD for whatever reason. He goes, what about JBD? Did JBD, he tested positive? And Vince was like, no. He goes, Sheik's like, well, I don't understand. They all were with me.
Oh.
He did not mean to rat him out. He was just being Sheik. It's just how he is, man.
Wow.
That's a known, though. I didn't know you guys hadn't heard that one.
I had heard about the traffic incident, but I didn't hear about that part of it, the last part of it.
Yeah, Sheik's special, man. That's a special dude. I love him to death, bro. Did I ever tell you about the story in Iowa with the Sheik? With the girl that I was trying to hang out with and asked him to watch out for her?
I don't think
Did I tell
so.
y'all that one?
I don't think so.
No, he definitely did.
Oh, let me tell y'all.
Okay.
We were in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, and after the show and going back to the hotel to party like we always do, but we did back then. And down in the lounge at the hotel that all the guys are staying at, you know, each one of these times you got your regular, what do you call it, girlfriend? Free sound. And, you know, and a couple of almost girlfriends. You have your regulars, you know, and there's other names for them. I don't know what those names are. But, so we're in Des Moines, and there's one of my almost my girlfriend from Des Moines was my almost girlfriend. And, I mean, she was nice, she looked good, you know, but the only problem is we've been together a few times, and there was no mystery to it. And I know that sounds bad, but you got to remember when you're on the road 250 days out of the year, you know, there's just no time for building a relationship. It's on the run. You got to get it and go. Georgia, there was a saying, it was gut 'em and go. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm just telling you what they say. But we're in Des Moines, and this girl shows up. And like I said, very nice girl, but there was a couple of new prospects. And we're all the time scouting talent, as they call it. And there was some new talent in the area. And it was on to check them out, but at the same time, I didn't want my almost girl, you know, I didn't want to lose her, you know. So, this Sheik was sitting over there with about 300 beers in front of him. He hadn't drank a damn one sip out of each one of the glasses instead of finishing one. And that's just how he is, you know. And so, you know, I went over to Sheik, lady, said, do you do me a favor? Anything for you, Marty. And so I said, you know, keep an eye on let's see, this is a girl named, Jenna? We go with, no, wait, not Jenna, because that's close to home. How about, well, it don't matter. Anyway, just so it is, Rock, it don't matter. What we did was the Sheik, you know, watch this girl for me. I'm going to go over here and, you know, see about recruiting. And as it turns out, like, you know, end of the night, I ended up, I don't know how this happened. I had to clear the cobwebs, and all of a sudden I'm in a room with this new girl I never met before. And I was pretty happy because she looked good. And things were going well until there was a knock at the door. And at the hotel, you know, in the room, I was opening the door, and there's police out there. And they're asking for, I can't pronounce his name, something Casabucky. You know, that's his real name. They're asking for James Casabucky. And I'm like, well, no, he's not here. Why? What's up? They're like, oh, well, we need to find him. We just need to find him. And there's a whole hallway of police, and, you know, so I'm like, I know exactly where he's at. So as soon as they walk away, I go running down to his room, knock on the door, and he opens the door. Excuse me, before I get to the door, as I run down to his room, there's like a big open window in the front, and I look at it, there's like, you got all the lights and the sirens, not sirens, but just lights flashing, and an ambulance out there. And I'm looking out the big old picture window, and only stretcher about the Sheik, you know, I was going down to his room to find out why the cops were going door to door trying to find him in the hotel. And I look out this big picture window in front of the hotel, like a little area, you know, where the elevator thing is now. And going out on the gurney, there's a girl that I'd left him with. She's on the stretcher. And I'm thinking, holy shit, what is now? And, you know, Sheik is crazy, you know, but what the hell has happened? And, you know, I run down to knock on his door. He opens the door, and he has this look on his face, and I'm like, Sheik, what the hell? He says, Marty, come in, please. So I come in the room, and I'm like, Sheik, there's cops looking everywhere for you. What the hell's going on? That girl's on the stretcher out there. He's like, Marty, let me tell you, Marty, what happened. And so I was like, yeah, please do, Sheik. He says, Marty, I take girl like you asked me. I watch out for you. I take girl and bar clothes, so I bring her up to room, Marty. And we come up to room, and Marty, I give her pills. She says she wasn't feeling good. I give her pain pills. She said she needed a drink. I give her drink. She said she was tired. I give her Coke. And Marty, I give her everything from A to Z. And then all of a sudden, Marty, she says, where's Marty? I said, Marty, no disrespect, but I said, fuck Marty. Did Marty give you pills? Did Marty give you wine? Did Marty give you coke? Hell no. And then Marty, I give her short clothesline. And I'm thinking, what the hell's a short clothesline, Sheik? And he's like, kidding on Marty, right here, just like this. And I'm like, she's on the stretcher out there. He goes, Marty, she moved. She not know how to work.
My
I
God.
don't know whatever happened. I think he ended up having to pay a lot of money to jail, whatever. But that's my boy, man. And he said, I meant no disrespect, Marty, but I said, fuck Marty. Okay, all right, brother.
I want him on the show now.
Yeah, I think I should call him next.
Who's Zeke?
Yeah.
Brother, that's the fun. He doesn't mean to be. I mean, he's just being real, and it's just absolutely the funniest ever. Everything about him's funny. He's a great guy, super guy. Short clothesline. She moves. I can understand that. He's a great guy, super guy.
All right. You have to go, or is this one more question, or what?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close. Hit me up with a couple more things.
All right. You mentioned to me via email about the match of the year candidate that you and Sean had. First of all, memories of that match.
Match of the year. I'm not even sure which one it was. There was two of them that were on Monday Night Raw. The first one was the one where I came out of the crowd. And he was like in the ring with Vince in the Manhattan Center.
Right.
Making a challenge to anybody, anywhere, all that kind of thing. And, I was dressed up, had a hood on, sunglasses, come walking out of the crowd. And, Sean was like, oh, look at this punk right here. You think she has a shot? Go sit down, fella. And if you guys remember, that's when I pulled off the hood and everything. That was me, and
Right.
we did the match right there. That was where I beat him for the Intercontinental Championship. That was a good match, but I'm not sure if that was the one or if it was the one that was a 2-out-of-3 fall with Kevin Nash in his corner, or Diesel at the time. It was in his corner, and that was in Monday Night Raw also. But to me, both matches were great. I know the first one was the one that was for the Intercontinental Championship. The things that stand out in my mind on that one was the fact that the whole purpose that even took place was, if you guys remember the Royal Rumble match, that January,
right,
with Sean and I, and Sherry Martel was involved. That was, of course, where she was, what side was she going to take? Was she going to go with Marty? Was she going to go with Sean? Because Sean had hit her with a mirror, but he was supposed to be trying to hit me, or he pulled her. I hit her with a mirror, but he pulled her in front. That kind of, if y'all remember that.
I remember it. Yeah.
That particular match was a so-so match, and we've been going around the loop putting matches together, him and I working, trying to get it fine-tuned for the Royal Rumble. And I'm sure they still do that, but that's what they did back at the time. You run around several weeks ahead of time getting the match down, so the pay-per-view, you had it down great. And we had, the night before that match, which that match was in Sacramento, California. The night before, Denver, Colorado, we had probably the best match I've ever had in my entire life. And I've been, just April, it was coming up with 20 years. That one match stands out because from opening bells, we hit the ring, till 20 minutes later, it was nonstop, and the crowd was into it. It was like a connection that we made, and it was just, it was magic. It was a flow. It's hard to explain. Nothing else existed in the world. It was just that match, and everything was perfect. It was nothing I've ever experienced before. At the 15-minute mark, right about there, for you guys to know about the Denver being high elevation,
right?
The air a little thinner, you get winded easy, and you feel like you're suffocating when you get winded. And we'd never had that problem. We always thought that was a big myth. And that was the first night we started feeling it, because we had a blazing pace going. And I remember us looking at each other thinking, oh shit, what do we do, man? Because, we still got a bit to go. We were kind of, another thing was just communication without saying anything. Sean and I were so connected. And that particular night, we could just look at each other and tell by the look what was being said. Never had to say a word. It was something that, like I said, I've never experienced before. But the last 5 minutes of that match, you know, you hear about running on adrenaline. Well, we were going on adrenaline the first 15 minutes. The last 5 minutes was purely feeding off the 15, 17,000 people there that were screaming and hollering. We're simply feeding off their energy to pull us through the last 5 minutes of that. And I remember us going in the back and just both collapsing to the floor and just laying there for quite a while. And that was the best match of ever. You know, if I had one single match, that would be the best match I've ever had in my life. Well, of course, the agents always report that back to the WWF office, or WWE, back then WWF office. And, you know, I think Jack Lanza, for y'all know who that is, he was calling it in that night and saying, oh, my God, this was the best one, this is the match, you know, tomorrow they're going to steal the show, they're going to blow it away, blah, blah, blah. And then at the Rumble, they actually came up and inserted Sherry into what we had just gotten down perfect. They decided that day that they wanted Sherry to be, you know, to come out to the ringside in the middle of the match and play like, okay, which way is she going? Is she for Sean? Is she for Marty? It just threw the entire rhythm off of of everything we just set up. And there was, you know, several spots we had to set up. So it wasn't what we'd been doing. And that at the end of that show, Vince, you know, called Sean and I aside, and you know, I was expecting to hear like, hey, good match, like we'd heard our whole time there.
Right.
So we're walking up, and he's like, I was very disappointed. I expected you guys to steal the show on this one, and quite frankly, that just wasn't even close. And that kind of caught me off. I mean, I know it wasn't, you know, what we'd been doing, but I didn't realize it was that bad. And so as it turned out, the next day we had a TV taken, and so that was the Rumble. The next day I think it was the Raw, and Vince called me in and released me. He said, in light of everything that happened yesterday, I have to give you your notice, or not notice, I'm sorry, give you a release. And, you know, I was stunned. I had only come back from that 6 months house arrest that we were just talking about. That was a screw job I had just got in my life. You know, I'd only been back 2 or 3 months from that. Now Vince was pulling me in and telling me he was letting me go because of what he thought was a bad match. So I'm like, I'm blown away. I'm thinking, what? You're going to let me go consider a bad match? You're firing somebody over a bad match. You need to go in the hallway out there and fire most everybody you got then. And he was like, well, it doesn't matter what you say now. The decision's been made. And you know, I was pleading with him, like, what's happening? Where's this coming from? How are you letting me go because you didn't like the match? And he was like, well, my understanding, they said that you had alcohol in your breath yesterday and you might have been drunk. Which, you know, to that, I'm like, please, test me right now. I mean, it doesn't matter what you say. The decision's been made. It's out of my hands. Well, it's out of your hands. Who's above you? And he said, there's nothing you can say. Decision's been made. And that was it. He stuck with that and had me go. And I guess a couple months went by me sitting on my ass at home in Orlando, Florida, scratching my ass and head at the same time, trying to figure out what just really happened. And Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, called me up one day. And he's like, Marty, he said, I got your job back for you. And like, what the hell are you talking about? Kurt was, you know, Kurt's one of the big rivers, you know, I love him to death. You know, we always practical jokes everybody and each other. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny, Kurt. And he said, no, really, I got your job back for you. And so I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, you're never going to believe this. Kurt and Vince, I guess, were, you know, they got along real well. I guess Vince had him up to his house a few times and whatever. And as Kurt told me, he was riding in the limo one night with Vince, and Vince told him the story, how Sean told him, Sean told Vince, that I was drunk during that match at the Rumble, and he had to lead me around by the nose. And with that, Kurt told him, says, you know what, I told him, that, and this is something I didn't know, but, you know, Kurt did, and Kurt told Vince, he goes, you know what, it was Sean who was screwed up. In fact, he passed out the night before in the restaurant, and they had to call 911 to have the emergency, whatever you call it, unit come up and revive him. And from what I understand, and this is all true, I mean, it's not being, none of this made up. And evidently, I guess the events looked into it, found out that was true, you know, by calling me whatever there in Sacramento. And I guess when he found out that was true or whatever, he was very upset with Sean. And this is the way I understand it. And so he had me come back in and beat Sean. That's what the thing was at the Manhattan Center when I come out of the crowd. It was basically to get back at Sean. And it was punishment to Sean, if you will, for lying to Vince about the thing. And to me, I'm thinking, how, that's punishment. But you asked me what stood out about that match. What stood out about it was the way Sean acted about that whole deal. When Vince called us that day, do you remember back when they did interviews where you had the split screen?
Right.
And one of the guys would be in their hometown TV area, and on the other side, you have the guy, your opponent from his hometown.
Right.
But in reality, we're right there in the same room, with the two screens. It was always funny because Kurt would always reach across and grab the guy. It was next to him. It looked like he reached across from San Antonio to Minneapolis. But at that place we were doing the thing, Vince pulled us aside and like we dropped the belt to Marty's night, and this was new. I mean, they kept it quiet, and they sprung it out, at the last minute because they were trying to keep, I guess, what's his name, Meltzer there, and everybody with the scoop sheets. They were trying to keep it quiet so nobody could get it out. And so I'll never forget the look on Sean's face when Vince said that. I mean, his mouth dropped. He just looked like you looked like a deer in damn headlights. He just sat there, and he was just like, after Vince told us, he's like, can I talk to you over here? Can I talk to you? And Vince was like, you would talk to me right here. And he didn't want to say it in front of me or whatever it was he wanted to talk with Vince. He was like, well, how long is? I mean, am I going to get the belt back? And Vince was like, eventually, yes, we haven't found it out, but eventually you will. And it just kind of caught me as like, oh my God, wrestling is not a shoot, or at least not what we do. Here he was all upset because he had dropped the belt, and then he made the comment. I remember him walking off. Scott Hall was, him and Scott were always friends, and Kevin Nash, with Diesel, Kevin Nash, and Lex Luger was there. I forget who else. Davey Boy was there, Bridge Boy, Davey. Just remember some of the guys that were standing around when Sean walked off, and remember him saying to Scott, how am I going to explain this to my family? I don't know. I didn't know what, I heard that, and I wasn't sure I heard that. How are you going to explain that to your family? That you're dropping the belt to your old partner? I mean, I didn't understand that. But that stood out. I mean, I really couldn't understand. Was I supposed to be offended? How to feel about that? I mean, what the hell? How am I explaining that to my family that I got to lose the belt tonight? And he had to call the Nasty Boys. I remember him saying, I got to call the Nasty Boys before they see it and let them know. Because the Nasty Boys, if y'all remember them,
right?
They were good for. We all lived together at one time in Tennessee, where we were all struggling trying to make it. And Sean, we all kept up with each other. And Sean they were down in WCW. And it was like he had to call them and make sure he let them know before they actually watched it that night live what was going on and explain it to them. So that's what I remember out of that match. Again, a 40-minute answer. I'm out of breath.
I'm out of breath listening to it. It's great.
Well, brothers, I'm going to have to wrap it up, but we can finish it another time if you don't want to finish it, go on with it. But I got to get going here.
Excellent.
There's 3 hookers outside the door. They aren't waiting no more, and I've already paid for them, so I'm going to get rolling.
Well, go have fun.
All right. Definitely stay in touch. Call me. Tell all my... oh, by the way, y'all have heard about the new Millennium Rockers, right?
Oh, no. Tell us quickly.
We make those new Millennium Rock Stars. With MJ in the house, otherwise known as Marty Jannetty, and Rod the Bod Foys. Y'all heard?
I've heard. Tell us more.
They are the tag team of the future. A little bit better than what the Rockers were. Of course, they should be 10 years later, whatever it is. But with Rod, I talked about Rod in the first part of this interview. We've since talked about our tagging up, and the new Millennium Rockers are ready to rock and roll, strut and stroll. Unlike any rocker team before us. You had the Rockers, the original Rockers. Me and, what's that guy's name? Shawn Michaels. And then, we had the new Rockers being Al Snow.
Right.
And now you got the new Millennium Rock Stars. It's going to blow everybody out of the water. So just keep your eyes out for them. Rod the Bod Boys with his sidekick. Fairly legal. and MJ in the house, otherwise known as Marty Jannetty. Yours truly. So, brothers, keep your eyes out.
This is your president and WWE Hall of Famer, Donald Trump. If you like this Wrestling Epicenter content, don't be greedy. Subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your attention to this matter.